Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is a business model so elegant, so perfectly calibrated to extract value from the wealthy, that once you understand it, you'll never look at luxury markets the same way again. Here's the secret. The ultra-rich don't want deals because they need to save money. They want deals because it proves they're smarter than everyone else. And they'll pay you handsomely to deliver that feeling. I'm talking about becoming a luxury curator, not a reseller, not a broker, a curator. And the difference between those three words is worth millions. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. This is a brand new channel and we're on a mission to hit 100 subscribers. If you're serious about wealth, real wealth, hit that subscribe button right now. We're also going for 50 likes on this video. 50 people who understand that the game is different at the top. Be one of them. And drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I want to know if this message is reaching Singapore, Dubai, New York, or a small town in the Midwest where someone is hungry enough to change their life. Do it now. Because what I'm about to share only works for people who take action immediately. Now let me tell you about the most expensive mistake I ever witnessed. It was 2018. A tech entrepreneur, freshly liquid from an acquisition, walked into a Rolex boutique in Geneva. He wanted a Daytona, the ceramic bezel model, white dial. You know the one. The sales associate smiled politely and told him what everyone gets told. We have a waiting list, 2 to 3 years, maybe longer. This man had just sold his company for $47 million, and he was being told to wait in line like everyone else. He walked out furious, not because he couldn't afford it, because money for the first time in his life wasn't enough. He had crossed into a new economic reality where access mattered more than capital, where networks trumped net worth. 3 days later, a friend introduced him to someone I'll call Marcus. Marcus wasn't a dealer, he wasn't a jeweler, he was a curator. Within 48 hours, Marcus located the exact watch, authenticated, full set with box and papers. Price? $18,000 over retail. The entrepreneur paid without blinking. But here's what's interesting. Marcus didn't own that watch. He had never seen it in person. He made $2,200 for knowing who to call and how to verify what he found. $2,200 for solving a problem that money alone couldn't solve. That right there is the entire business model. Time arbitrage, access arbitrage, certainty arbitrage. Let me explain what's really happening here, because this is where most people get it wrong. They think the wealthy are cheap. They think billionaires hunt for deals because they're misers hoarding every dollar. Dead wrong. The wealthy buy deals for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons only. First, intellectual validation. Getting something below market value proves they're still sharp, still playing the game at the highest level. It's not about the money saved, it's about the win. The same reason a billionaire will spend 3 hours negotiating a private jet purchase to save $200,000, then tip a waiter $500 without thinking about it. The negotiation is the game. The tip is irrelevant. Second reason, access, exclusivity. In luxury markets, scarcity is engineered. Hermès doesn't make enough Birkin bags to meet demand because they don't want to meet demand. Patek Philippe could manufacture more watches, but they won't. Scarcity creates desire. Desire creates status. And status is the only currency that matters when you already have all the money. So when you show up as a curator and say, "I found the thing you can't find," you're not selling a product. You're selling proof that they're connected, that they have access, that they're part of the club. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be part of that club yourself. You just need to know how to pick the lock. Now, before I show you exactly how to do this, I need to know you're serious. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This isn't entertainment, this is education. And the next strategy I'm going to reveal is worth $10,000 if you implement it correctly. Don't be the person who watches this entire video, learns the system, and then forgets to subscribe. That's poor person behavior. Winners take action immediately. Let's talk about Gab Waller. Most of you have never heard of her, but Rosie Huntington-Whiteley has. Hailey Bieber has. The Kardashians have. Waller started as a personal shopper in Australia. Nothing special. Mid-tier clients, modest commissions. Then one day she got a request that changed everything. A certain British model and actress wanted a specific coat. Not just any coat. A particular vintage Celine piece from the Phoebe Philo era, camel cashmere, oversized, sold out everywhere. Most personal shoppers would have said, "Sorry, can't find it." Waller said, "Give me 48 hours." She didn't search online. She called every boutique that had carried that collection. Most had sold out months ago, but she kept calling. Smaller cities, less obvious markets, and in a boutique in Copenhagen, Denmark, she found it. One piece, the last one. She secured it, shipped it, and delivered it perfectly. Huntington Whiteley posted it on Instagram, tagged Waller. And overnight, Waller's phone exploded. Because here's what happened. Every other wealthy woman who followed Huntington Whiteley saw that post and thought, "Wait, someone can actually find sold-out pieces. I need that person." Waller now sources full-time for A-list celebrities. She charges a flat sourcing fee plus shipping. No inventory risk, no overhead, just her knowledge and her network. She's built a 7-figure business finding things that don't exist on the public market. That's the model, and it works in every luxury category you can imagine. Let me break down the sectors where this prints money. Fashion, specifically current season sold-out items. Hermès bags in specific colors. Limited edition sneakers. Specific Bottega Veneta pieces before they discontinue the line. The strategy? Build relationships with sales associates at boutiques in secondary cities. A bag that's sold out in New York, Paris, and London, it might be sitting in a boutique in Lyon, in Melbourne, in Houston. You find it, secure it, and connect it to your client. Fee? Anywhere from $200 for a simple find to $2,000 for a rare Hermès bag. Vintage furniture. The wealthy are obsessed with mid-century modern. Pierre Jeanneret chairs, Mario Bellini sofas, Eames lounges. Why? Because Kanye was obsessed with Jeanneret. Because Kourtney Kardashian filled her house with vintage pieces. Trends at that level trickle down, and suddenly everyone with money wants Chandigarh chairs. Here's the play. Those chairs retail on first dibs for $12,000, but you can find them at French auction houses like Drew for $4,000. At estate sales in India for even less. You locate one, verify authenticity, and offer it to your client for $7,000. They save $5,000. You make $3,000. Everyone wins. Except the person who paid retail. Watches. This is the most liquid market. Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet. Authorized dealers have waiting lists measured in years. Grey market dealers have inventory, but wildly variable pricing. Your job? Track pricing across Chrono24, private dealer WhatsApp groups, collector forums. Find the discrepancies. Negotiate. Authenticate. Deliver. I know a curator in Miami who does nothing but source watches. He charges a flat fee of $1,000 per watch, or 10% of the savings, whichever is higher. Last year, he cleared $230,000. He doesn't own a single watch. He's never even worn a Rolex. He just knows how to read the market and move faster than his clients can. Real estate, specifically short-term luxury rentals and off-market leases. Athletes filming commercials need houses for 3 months. Actors shooting on location need furnished estates. Wealthy families need vacation homes in Aspen for the holidays. They don't want to search Airbnb. They want you to handle it. You become a bird dog. You find unlisted properties. You negotiate directly with landlords. You bypass listing agents and their fees. Your cut? 10 to 20% of the lease value, or a flat placement fee of $3,000 to $5,000. One lease, one fee. Scale it, and you're making serious money just knowing who owns what and who needs what. Now, here's where most people fail. They understand the concept, but they don't understand the execution. So let me walk you through the exact 3-step framework that separates amateurs from professionals. Step 1. Sourcing. You must aggregate supply that your client cannot see. Not will not see, cannot see. Set up alerts on every platform. eBay, Vestiaire Collective, The Real, Chrono24, Grailed. Use specific reference numbers, model names, colorways. When something hits the market, you need to know within minutes, not hours. But digital tools are only half the game. The real edge is human intelligence. You need to build relationships with sales associates at luxury boutiques. Text them directly. If a Kelly bag in gold comes in, hold it for me. I'll bring you a buyer within 24 hours. Offer them a small finder's fee if necessary. $50, $100, doesn't matter, you're buying access. I know a curator in Los Angeles who has 15 sales associates on speed dial across Hermès, Chanel, and Dior boutiques. He pays them each $50 every time they give him a heads up on new inventory. Last month, one of them told him about a Birkin 25 in Cray. He had a buyer within 6 hours, made $4,000, paid the SA $50. That's a 79-to-1 return on investment. Step 2. Validation. This is your only asset. Trust. If you sell one fake, one counterfeit, one misrepresented item, you're finished. Your reputation is destroyed, and reputation is the only thing you're actually selling. So never, ever authenticate yourself unless you are a certified expert. Use third-party services. For watches, use an escrow service or a dedicated watchmaker. For handbags, use Entropy or Real Authentication. For cars, always order a pre-purchase inspection from a specialist mechanic near the seller. Yes, this costs money. $100 here, $200 there. Pay it. Every single time. Because the first time you skip it to save $100, you'll sell a $15,000 fake and lose a client worth $50,000 a year in repeat business. Step 3. The transaction. You have two models here. The finder's fee model. The client pays you a separate fee, $200, $500, $1,000. They pay the seller directly. This lowers your liability and requires zero capital. This is where you start. The all-in model. You buy the item for $1,000, sell it to the client for $1,500. This requires capital and increases risk, but offers much higher margins. Move to this once you've validated the process and built trust with your clients. Here's a real-world example. A client asks you to find a specific vintage Leica camera, M3, double stroke, from 1955. You find one on eBay for $2,200. Condition is excellent, but the seller's photos are terrible and the listing is poorly written, so nobody's bidding on it. You send the listing to your client. You say, "This is the one, I've verified the serial number. The condition matches your requirements. I'm charging you a $300 finder's fee." Client pays you $300. Client pays seller $2,200. Total cost to client $2,500. Market value of that camera, if it were listed properly, $3,500. Client saves $1,000. You make $300 for 30 minutes of work. That's the model at the smallest scale. But we're not thinking small here. Let me show you how this scales. Tier 1 is the hustle. Single transactions. Finding a vintage Leica. Sourcing a sold-out sneaker. Revenue per transaction, $50 to $150. Volume, high frequency, low friction. This is where you learn. This is where you build your reputation. Tier 2 is the concierge. Retainer clients. Someone pays you $2,000 a month to be on call. I need a vacation home in Aspen for Christmas. Find me a Daytona by Friday. I want a Pierre Jeanneret chair authenticated and delivered within 2 weeks. You handle it. You charge the retainer plus success fees on top. Target. Ultra-high net worth individuals who view you as part of their staff. One client at this level is worth $24,000 a year in retainer alone, plus commissions. Tier 3 is the subscription. Passive scalability. This is where you build real wealth. The concept is simple. You create a weekly email or WhatsApp list. Call it The Drop. Every week, you send your subscribers 10 vetted deals. A Rolex selling under market on Chrono24. An estate sale with verified Eames chairs. A limited handbag available at a boutique in Singapore. You've already done the work. You've verified everything. Your subscribers just get the list. Price $20 a month, that's it. Sounds small, right? Watch what happens at scale. 500 subscribers times $20 a month equals $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's $120,000 a year. Passive. No transactions required. They're paying for the curation, even if they don't buy every week. Even if they only buy once a quarter, the subscription is worth it because when they do need something, you're the first person they think of. And here's the compounding effect. Those subscribers become transaction clients. They see a deal in your weekly email, they reach out, and now you're making the finder's fee or commission on top of the subscription revenue. I know someone running this exact model in the watch space. 600 subscribers at $25 a month. That's $15,000 monthly recurring revenue. But last quarter, 30 of those subscribers hired him for specific sourcing projects. Average fee per project? $1,200. That's an additional $36,000 in one quarter from clients who were already paying him for the subscription. The model stacks. It compounds. It prints money while you sleep. Now, let me be clear about the risks, because if you don't understand these, you will fail. Risk number 1, counterfeits. This is the single point of failure. Sell one fake, and you're done. Mitigation is simple. Mandatory third-party authentication on every single item. No exceptions, ever. Risk number 2, circumvention. Client sees the deal, goes directly to the seller, cuts you out. This happens. Mitigation? Blind the source. Do not reveal the seller's identity or listing link until your fee is paid or a contract is signed. Send photos. Send details. But never send the source until money is in your account. Risk number 3, ghosting. Client asks you to find something. You spend hours sourcing. You find it. They change their mind. You've wasted your time and made nothing. Mitigation? Charge a small upfront initiation fee. $50. Creditable toward the final success fee if they buy. If they're serious, they'll pay it. If they ghost, you've at least covered your time. These risks are real, but they're all manageable if you structure your business correctly from day one. So let's talk about mindset, because this business isn't really about finding things. It's about understanding value perception. The wealthy operate in a different economy than you do. They don't think about money the same way. When someone worth $50 million pays you $1,000 to find a watch, they're not thinking, is this worth $1,000? They're thinking, is this worth my time? And the answer is always no. Their time is worth more. Always. A private equity partner billing out at $1,500 an hour doesn't want to spend 10 hours researching watches on Chrono 24. That's $15,000 of opportunity cost. Paying you $1,000 to handle it is a 93% discount on their time. It's the easiest decision they'll make all week. You need to internalize this. You're not expensive. You're efficient. You're not a luxury. You're a necessity. The moment you start apologizing for your fees or feeling guilty about your pricing, you've lost. Because you're still thinking like someone who trades time for money, not someone who trades expertise for leverage. Here's a story that illustrates this perfectly. 1994. A dealer named Shin Shankle started sourcing vintage denim, Levi's Lee Wrangler, pieces from the 1940s and 50s. At the time, most people thought he was insane. Who pays premium prices for old work clothes? But Shankle understood something others didn't. He understood that scarcity plus narrative equals value. He wasn't selling jeans. He was selling pieces of Americana, wearable history, status symbols that couldn't be faked or manufactured. He built relationships with estate sale managers, thrift store owners, vintage dealers across the southwestern United States. He taught them what to look for: specific stitching patterns, selvage denim, single-stitch construction, big E versus small e on the Levi's tab. Within 5 years, he was sourcing for Ralph Lauren, Tom Ford, and private collectors in Japan willing to pay 5 figures for a single pair of jeans. He didn't own a retail store. He didn't manufacture anything. He just knew more than everyone else, and he monetized that knowledge. That's curation. That's the model. Now, I'm going to tell you something that most wealth content creators won't say. This business requires zero capital to start, but it requires infinite discipline to scale. Starting is easy. Find one item for one client. Make your first $100. Congratulations. You've validated the concept. But scaling requires systems. It requires saying no to low-value clients. It requires firing clients who waste your time. It requires raising your prices even when you're afraid no one will pay them. Most people never make it past Tier 1 because they're addicted to the dopamine hit of the transaction. They love the hunt. They love finding the deal. But they never systematize it. They never build the infrastructure that allows them to serve 10 clients, then 50, then 500. You need to think like a business, not like a hobbyist. That means tracking every lead, every client interaction, every sourcing channel, measuring conversion rates, client lifetime value, time spent per transaction. If you're not tracking these numbers, you're not running a business. You're running an expensive hobby. And here's the other thing nobody talks about. Client selection matters more than client acquisition. One great client is worth 50 mediocre ones. A client who pays a $2,000 monthly retainer and never haggles is infinitely more valuable than 20 clients who each pay you $100 once and then disappear. So how do you find great clients? You don't. You build a reputation and they find you. Start by going deep in one niche, not luxury in general, one specific category: vintage watches, limited sneakers, Hermès bags, mid-century furniture. Pick one, master the authentication process, learn every sourcing channel, and become the absolute best in that one vertical. When you're the best in one niche, clients in adjacent niches find you. The guy who hires you to source a Rolex eventually asks if you can find him a vintage Porsche. The woman who pays you to locate a Birkin eventually wants help furnishing her vacation home. Your reputation compounds across categories, but it starts with depth in one. Let me give you another real-world case study. There's a curator in London named James. I'm not using his last name because he operates mostly through private referrals. James started sourcing rare books, first editions, signed copies, literary collectibles. He built relationships with antiquarian booksellers, estate liquidators, and auction houses. He learned how to authenticate signatures, evaluate condition, and assess market value. Within 2 years, he had a small roster of clients, lawyers, bankers, a few celebrities, who paid him to build their libraries. Then one of his clients, a hedge fund manager, asked him to source a vintage Hermès travel trunk. James had never dealt with leather goods, but he said yes, did the research, found the trunk, authenticated it, and delivered it. The client was thrilled. He referred James to 3 friends. One of those friends asked James to source contemporary art. Again, James learned the market, built the relationships, and delivered. Today, James runs what is essentially a private buying office for a dozen ultra-high net worth families. He's on retainer for £25,000 a month. His job is to find things, whatever they want. Books, art, cars, real estate, wine. He's not an expert in everything. He's an expert in knowing who the experts are and how to evaluate their advice. That's the final form of this business. You become the hub, the central node in a network of specialists. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know who to call and how to verify their work. But it starts with one niche, one category, one perfect transaction that builds your reputation. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, not tomorrow, not after you finish watching this video, right now. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it immediately. We're building something here. A community of people who understand that wealth isn't about working harder, it's about thinking differently. We're at the beginning of this journey, and I need you to be part of it. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. We're going for 50 likes on this video. Be one of the 50, and drop a comment. Tell me your biggest takeaway from this video. Tell me what niche you're going to dominate. Tell me where you're watching from. I want to see comments from Tokyo, from Mumbai, from Sao Paulo, from Kansas City. This message is global, and I want to know it's reaching the right people. Do that right now, because the people who take immediate action are the people who win. Now let me wrap this up with the most important lesson of all. The Luxury Curator model works because it solves a problem that money alone cannot solve. Access, time, certainty, trust. In a world where everything is available online, nothing is truly accessible. The paradox of choice has created a market for curation. The democratization of luxury has created a market for verification. You're not competing with Amazon. You're not competing with eBay. You're competing with uncertainty. And uncertainty is expensive. Uncertainty costs time, which costs opportunity, which costs money. When you position yourself as the solution to uncertainty, you're not selling a service. You're selling peace of mind, and peace of mind is priceless. So stop thinking about this as a side hustle. Stop thinking about this as a way to make an extra $500 a month. Think about this as a genuine wealth vehicle. Because if you execute correctly, if you build the reputation, if you scale the systems, this isn't a 5-figure-a-year business. This is a 6-figure-a-year business. And for the people who go all the way, who build the subscription model, who lock in the retainer clients, who become the central hub in a network of specialists. This is a 7-figure-a-year business, all without inventory, without overhead, without employees. Just you, your knowledge, and your network. The wealthy will always need curators. They will always pay for access. They will always value certainty over savings. The question is, are you going to be the person they call? Start today. Pick your niche. Build your first relationship with a sales associate or a dealer. Find your first item for your first client. Make your first $100. Then your first 1,000. Then your first 10,000. The model works. The case studies are real. The opportunity is sitting in front of you right now. Don't let it pass. If you got value from this video, if you understand what I just handed you, show me. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment below. Tell me where you're from and what category you're going to dominate. Because I'm going to be here every week dropping strategies like this. Wealth psychology, insider tactics, the exact playbooks the rich use to stay rich and get richer. But I can only do that if you're here with me. So subscribe, engage, take action. This is Premium Wealth Insights. I'm William Vanderbilt, and I'll see you in the next one. Now go build your empire.